We're following developing news right now and have the very latest. Officials say a passenger plane carrying more than 240 people crashed shortly after takeoff. This coming out of India right now. The flight was bound for London's Gatwick Airport. Video that you're looking at here from the scene shows a large plume of black smoke coming from what appears to be a densely populated residential area. Again, this taking place in the city of Ahmedabad, and the city police commissioner of Ahmedabad says there appears to be no survivors. However, we just confirmed that we do know of one survivor. I want to thank you so much for streaming with us on Queen City News Plus. I'm Alicia Barnes. I'm joined now by our chief correspondent, MayCay Beeler. MayCay, thanks for being here with us. You have so much to be able to bring us because you are a pilot, and to be able to look at this scene that we're looking at here, just to let our viewers know the survivors. Again, we know there's confirmed one. The scene that you're looking at here, though, MayCay, just kind of walk us through it.
Well, first of all, here we are with a heavy heart again, reporting on, yet another tragedy. It seems like this year has been haunted by air scare after tragedy, after near misses, runway incursions, and now this horrible, deadly accident. So it's an unfolding story. We're still learning more and more, and just the miraculous news of a survivor. They call him the Miracle in 11A. That was his seat. And he said that there were bodies all around him. He came to. He walked off the aircraft. He was just walking around. Somebody grabbed him, put him in an ambulance, and took him to the hospital. How he survived, we have no idea. And we are told that he has a brother who was on board that flight, and we don't know the fate of the brother. So a lot of interesting, terrifying, heart-yanking information is coming to light, Alicia.
And when you look at the video here, as people are able to watch several different angles from this scene, you're able to see right here the plume of smoke, this coming a little bit of ways from the airport. You also saw a video there, closer there on the tarmac. But MayCay, I know we cannot speculate. We have to be able to wait for confirmed reports of information. However, because you are a pilot, what right now are investigators, what are they doing? What are they searching for?
All right. Well, the most important thing is they've got to get the black box.
Okay.
So we've got the cockpit voice recorder and the data recorder, because that's going to tell them what they need to know. We do know, as far as ATC communications are concerned, the pilots did make a Mayday call. Mayday, Mayday. There was an emergency. Whatever happened in a matter of seconds. So now we've got videos of everything, and everybody can watch the video and speculate. We don't want to speculate, but we can look at the video, and we're going to have that here. Here we go. So it's a video that was taken on the airport. You can see the airplane is taking off.
Right.
The airplane has to reach a certain airspeed before the airplane can lift off. So they're going by a checklist. They've got call-outs. They're calling out airspeeds. They've rotated or lifted off. But now at about 600 feet, according to a flight tracker, the plane stops climbing. So she's still climbing right here, but now you can see she's not climbing anymore. She's leveling off. The nose is high. They're trying to climb, but the airplane is descending. For whatever reason, this airplane has lost lift. Now we're going to freeze it here before the airplane lands into a building. So we don't want to traumatize people, but
Right.
This is a very frightening and terrifying moment. So what are investigators looking at? The big question now is, why did the airplane stop climbing? Mm-hmm. What happened? Did both engines lose power? Were there bird strikes? Well, we don't see any birds in the area, but investigators will determine that. Did the engines quit for whatever reason? Was the airplane properly configured? So part of our checklist, pilot checklist, you set the flaps to a certain degrees. The flaps are high lift control surfaces that help the airplane climb. We have slats, and they have to be set at a certain number of degrees. And if they're not, the airplane's not going to climb the way it should. So were they not set properly? You can see the gear is still down. You cannot raise the gear according to the checklist until we have a positive rate of climb and a certain number of feet above the ground. So the airplane was not climbing. Something catastrophic happened. All there was a moment just to yell, Mayday, Mayday, and within seconds, this airplane stopped climbing. All the pilots can do at this point is fly straight ahead. Mm. They can't turn around. They're not climbing. They're going to hit whatever's in front of them. And apparently it was a residential area, as you said, Alicia. And it turned out it was a hospital, medical hostel, where quite a few people were injured and killed.
I want to take you to that video right here where you're able to see people on the ground. This video right here. So this is the video here where you have plumes of smoke. And just take a look as we get that video up. We're going to zoom out. You'll see, look at that. Again, this taking place in India. A lot of people here witnessing what happened, but also probably coming to the scene, hearing the news of this crash. You can see people walking through the debris right there. MayCay, I want to ask you, when we see those big plumes of smoke, this plane was fully fueled. Talk to me about that.
That's the worst part. The worst time to have a crash is on takeoff, and you have all that fuel. So this was a long-haul flight. They were going to Gatwick in England. So they had plenty of fuel on board. So obviously, when the plane hit the building, it exploded because all that fuel ignited. That's why you see all that black smoke. It looks sensationalized, but this is what happens when you have an airplane full of fuel like that.
We did find out that this plane crashed. It was a 787 Dreamliner. Very important because I want to talk to the experience that you know about the 787, but also Boeing. So this was also the first crash ever of a Boeing 787. What can you tell us?
So, yeah, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, it is put together close to us here in Charlotte in North Charleston, South Carolina. There's a Boeing plant there where they assemble the 787, and also in Washington, in Everett, Washington. So the 787, this particular airplane is 11 years old, this particular airplane. So it's young for an airplane. Apparently, back in 2011, when the Dreamliner was introduced, it had a couple good years, but then it had some problems, a little bit of a checkered past. In 2013, the FAA grounded all 787 Dreamliners for a while until they could figure out a better system for the lithium-ion batteries, part of their electrical system. And we've all heard stories about, you may have in your watch or your cell phone or your laptop, you can't put a battery like that somewhere where you can't get to it because they can explode and catch fire. So they grounded the airplane for a while till they could figure out an improvement on those batteries. There had been a couple other incidents over the years, but nothing fatal and nothing really to write home about. There was one loss of the hull, H-U-L-L, hull of an aircraft, where a fire just started inside the airplane. Nobody was hurt. The airplane was just sitting there. So in the past, lithium-ion battery concerns. Also, more recently with Boeing, we've had whistleblowers worrying about Boeing and quality control issues, saying that they were putting profits over safety. And specifically for the Dreamliner, we had two whistleblowers, and one was concerned that he saw that fasteners on the fuselage weren't what they should be, and there were other quality control issues. This, according to two different whistleblowers. One is John Barnett, who allegedly committed suicide. So did that have anything to do with this flight? I can't speculate, but more than likely it's going to be pilot error. It could be mechanical, or they're going to look into when was the last maintenance check done? What was the condition of the pilots? They'll have to do autopsies, drug and alcohol tests. When was their last flight? Were they fatigued? What was their experience level? What were the conditions? What were the environmental conditions? The weather looks good to us, but investigators will look. I think it was very hot that day.
It was also 1:30 in the afternoon there in India.
Right. I believe the
our
temperature was very hot, and that has a lot to do with climb performance. But anyway, was the airplane configured the way it should have been? That's what the talk is right now among people who are speculating. We can't speculate, Alicia. You know that we have no clue what happened.
I do want to ask you, though, from the video that we're just coming in right here to our Queen City News Plus team loading in this video of seeing the plane on the tarmac as it is taking off. From your perspective as a pilot, I'm not asking you to speculate. That's not what I'm asking. Walk us through again. I know you did it already, but what really stands out to you as a pilot when you say, you know what, something didn't look right?
Well, I can't tell from this angle, but everything is done by a checklist, by memory items. We have call-outs, set thrust set, 2 good engines, 80 knots, check. V1, V2, rotate, positive rate of climb, 400 feet, whatever the altitude is to put the gear up. They didn't put the gear up. So to me, it indicates there was no positive rate of climb.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you, because I'm wondering from the ground perspective, from a safety point of view, are there things that people can see from a distance of, you know what, we need to back up? Something might happen. or is there something that obviously you being a pilot, you would know that I wouldn't know, and you see people there closer to the scene?
I can't tell from this video, Alicia, but experts who have a closer view, or if they can zoom in, they're going to see what the position of the flaps are and the slats. The flaps and slats give you lift. They help the aircraft take off in a proper distance. If they're not in there, it's not going to climb the way it's supposed to. Might use more runway, may hit the trees at the end of the runway.
Right.
So slats and flaps, I can't tell from looking at this. I'd be a fool to try to speculate. Some people have looked at it and said, oh, it's not configured properly.
Right.
That's for the NTSB. And by the way, who's going to investigate this? Of course, the officials with Air India, officials with the India Aviation Department. Also, Boeing will be in on this. Boeing is an American aircraft. This is an American aircraft. They will be invited in, and also the NTSB will be there as well, helping with the FAA, although this is an India investigation.
It is interesting, though, just looking at the video and seeing how many people are near this scene. That was very surprising because when we've had crashes in the past, I think there's been, in America, which is what I'm talking about, is you're very quick to be able to see crime scene tape, or you're able to see that they're able to get people off the runway. Even we have situations here at Charlotte Douglas International Airport, not a crash, but if any kind of concerning situation.
Oh, yeah, because you have to secure the
Exactly. You're seeing people walk through the debris, and some of this video, and hundreds of people that you can be able to see now coming out, taking a look at the wreckage, kind of concerning there.
Well, that's concerning because you're contaminating the scene. So they could pick up things, move things. This is so catastrophic, though, and you can imagine they're charred bodies. They're things you don't want to see. And
original reports, it says that the plane was carrying 240 passengers. Again, this crashed shortly after takeoff. About how many seconds do you think that it was in air? Did it become airborne, or does that consider to be airborne when it's just kind of taking off?
Right. So as I said, you have to have a certain airspeed to take off. We're calling out airspeeds all the time. We're checking on airspeeds. Depends on the weight of the aircraft. It also depends on the temperature of the day. Is the runway contaminated? Is it wet? Is it dry? How hot is it outside? Density, altitude. This all has to do with how much runway is needed to take off, for takeoff. They figure all that out. They've got computers on board. They're calling out airspeeds at a certain airspeed. V1, they can determine that if we have a problem, we can stop.
Right.
After V1, we're taking off. We don't care what's happened. We're going to take off. And so something happened within seconds there that they lifted off. They had the airspeed to lift off, but then something happened. We saw it started to climb out, but then something happened and it stopped climbing. It could no longer sustain lift, and it started dropping.
We have to talk about this one survivor. When we first saw this video that came into our newsroom, when we first got word of this crash happening, originally the commissioner, the city police commissioner of Aminabad, says there were no survivors. And then we started getting conflicting reports and hearing more. Again, one person has been confirmed that they have survived this horrific crash, also speaking and saying, I saw bodies around me. Walk me through in terms of what you have heard, what you've read, what you've been able to report, and just how, from a human angle, what a miracle this is.
Yeah, from a human angle, fate is the hunter. We all have times when we're going to go. It wasn't his time. It was a miracle. We can't explain how he survived and somebody else didn't. We do know that, according to research, there's certain places the plane you can sit where you have a higher level of survival. But in something like this, it just depends on where the plane hits.
Okay.
And obviously it flew into a building. Couldn't climb anymore. It's going straight ahead. It's going to hit whatever's in front of it. You can't turn around. There's not enough airspeed or altitude. So they had seconds. And I'm surprised they knew something went wrong right away because they called Mayday right away. So obviously they had engine indications, the warning system telling them that something was wrong. Did both engines die? Was it ingested with birds? And they knew they couldn't climb and they had problems. So a very tragic situation. It's all up to the investigators to see what they can piece together. And again, the black box, the cockpit voice recorder, the data recorder, that's going to tell us what we need to know. Now, as far as the survivor is concerned, he was quoted as saying in different reports that he heard a loud bang, and within seconds they crashed. So what was that bang? I don't know. And oftentimes witness reports aren't all that accurate. Not saying anything about this particular gentleman. We don't know.
Well, as you're able to watch right here, as we're seeing more people, look at this, how many firefighters, how many people are here on the scene. This is video out of India right here, looking at the scene of what's going on in Aminabad. All different angles. As MayCay said, we cannot speculate. There's going to be so much more information coming out on this. If we have big details, big developments, of course, we'll join you back here as we stream on Queen City News Plus. But for right now, I'm Alicia Barnes, joined by MayCay Beeler, and I just want to thank you for streaming with us, getting us the latest information. You can also check us out on our website at qcnews.com. Thanks for joining us.